Hello, good evening. Welcome. My name is Obidako. Welcome. I want to share with you what I call invest in yourself. First, practice self education and self development. Invest in yourself. You first of all have to focus on investing in yourself, and you have to constantly practice self education and self development. You know, by one of the things or the main thing that makes me you know happy and enjoy life is to see people who are fully committed to becoming better themselves, who are focused on constantly stretching themselves to get to their goals, people who don't let the conditions of life, people who don't let the issues that they came to meet, the family background, the educational background, the lack of job, the business that is not working, the marriage that is not working, the finances. People who don't let these things stop them from going to getting their dreams. That is, that's the thing that makes me, you know, uh, hopeful and makes me happy about life. So if you're one of those guys, if you're one of us who you are the people who say that you are interested in building your own life, building your own business, building your trying to get to your goals, your dreams, if you are self-driven, one of the things that you must focus on will be self-development and self-education, getting to your goals. You have to commit to self investment. There is no better way to invest when it comes to business, when it comes to entrepreneurship, when it comes to achieving goals, when it comes to becoming successful with your dreams, than firstly investing in yourself. Educating, focusing on becoming better as an individual. There's nothing like that. We've been told to believe in everybody. We've been told to listen to everybody. We've been told to listen to the experts. We've been told to listen to our parents. We've been told to listen to our teachers. Look up to prophets and pastors. We've been told to listen to the chief. We have been told to wait for the government, the president, to make things work for us. Very few have been told that your number one duty as a human being is to invest in yourself, is to educate yourself, is to fight against self-ignorance, is to fight against the things that limit you. And a lot of the things that limit people are the things that we place in front of our own selves. Most of them are mental. Most of the challenges, the difficulties that we see with life are mindset, not so much the physical realities that we convince ourselves with, where you're able to tell yourself that I'm coming from a very difficult background, I'm coming from a very difficult home. I was not sent to a very good school. I didn't have anybody to take care of me. I am alone. I don't have any parents, or everybody has some kind of story. And a lot of these stories can make us give up and settle at where we are. If you meet anybody who is doing business, the only thing that makes them continue to fight and continue to go after their dream, I would say, is when they commit to self development constantly. The part of the part that people have to take in realizing their dreams, I dare say that they rest with self investment, investing in yourself constantly, practicing self education, practicing self development more than any other part. Because the kind of education that you need to become successful as an entrepreneur is not the kind of education that you get from any place. It's not the one that you get from school. It's not in school. Maybe it's not even in the job that you are doing. It is something that you have to virtually design your own school to get, and it's learned most likely, from the street. It's rough, and if you are going to become one, or if you're one, and you're going to, the entrepreneurs, the business people, or maybe you are trying to do something that is out of the norm. The one of the factors that will help you to become successful will be when you commit to self investment, when you commit to self development, when you commit educating yourself, constantly educating yourself. You eventually have to create your own university, if you're going to succeed. And as I said, everybody has been told, we all have been told to wait for somebody, to wait, to look up to the wisdom of somebody. Everybody listens to somebody all the time. Um, we have to listen to your teacher, you have to listen to your parents, you have to listen to everybody. And a lot of people only listen to advice, but they don't have personal program to invest in themselves. One of the things that you would have to invest in, I think, will be knowledge. You have to invest in educating yourself, get the right kind of knowledge. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to get the right kind of knowledge. The right kind of knowledge as how this entrepreneurship is all about. This business is all about the right kind of knowledge in terms of the finances, the right kind of knowledge in terms of the business that you're doing, the particular business that you're doing, the product that you're doing, the market that you're operating in. You see, the thing about life is that I think that almost everything falls on the basis. The thing that makes you start anything, the things that will make you to have the energy, strength, the strength to start a business, they are the same very small things that you have to keep doing if you're going to become successful. And they are not strange. They are just the basics, the basics. And major part of it is self-investment. Practicing, constantly having a program to becoming better yourself, improving your knowledge, improving your skill, improving your wisdom, improving your understanding of things, improving your worldview, exposing yourself, stretching yourself. They are the basis. They have to stay with you for the rest of your journey, the rest of your life. It's not so much. I think that life, even though life appears to be complex, I think that the things that make people successful, or the things that make people to succeed with their dreams, with their business journey, are the same basic things that we just have to keep doing and becoming better at them. And one of them is committing to self investment. If you are going to become great, you are going to become great because you got great yourself. You committed to becoming great yourself first. If you see any great achiever, it's because they committed to developing themselves first. You saw, it requires self-improvement. That's entrepreneurship. It requires self-improvement. You have to have your own school, and sometimes you may have to even go and register some courses. Sometimes you may have to even go back and get some certificates, some degrees, because it's a program that you have to have sometimes. And so we cannot, maybe if you go to maybe your village, the people that you left there when you decided to move to the city, uh, um, you can see that a lot of them, when you go back and you are talking, they will tell you that you were fortunate, you had parents, you had this, you had that, we didn't have anybody to help us. It may appear to be legitimate, but I also think that if somebody had told them that if you commit to self-improvement, constantly getting better, in your understanding, in your wisdom, in your knowledge, in the things that you have committed your life to do, constantly having a program and committing to it. If somebody had told the friends that you left behind, maybe they would have also had a fair chance of life. The thing about it is that even though they tell you to look and listen to everybody and take advice and everything, your life is only a reflection of the quality of information that you have, the quality of decisions that you are making. Your life is only a reflection of that. And so if your life is going to go forward because you're making the right kind of decisions and choices, then you must as well commit to becoming better as to how you get the right kind of information, the right kind of skill, the right kind of tools to making these decisions that are propelling your life better, or forward. You have to commit to that. And from, let's say, from last year, this is July, from last year July to this year July, how many books have you read? How many books have you read? How many articles have you read? How many, what is it, magazines have you subscribed to towards your dream anyway? If you're an entrepreneur, if I'm talking of how many books have you read, I'm not talking about the books about poetry. I'm not talking about the books about cooking, unless that is your business. I'm talking about the things that will tool you, that will make you better at doing what you're doing as a business person, as somebody who wants to achieve something. How many books have you read? Can you say that at least you read one book or two books for the entire year, from last year July to this year July? Can you tell yourself that, okay, I went to the bookshop and I was able to get maybe one or two books, and I committed to them, and I read them and I finished them? Can you say that? Usually most adults, even though they can read, they never buy any book to read. Now, that can happen to the rest of the population. But if you want to commit to building business, I think that is as important and is as critical as you focusing practically on your business as you getting the right kind of knowledge. Because, you can see a lot of business people who seem to have money, but you can see that the level of their knowledge, the level of their understanding, the level of the growth of the business starts to slow down because they refuse to invest in themselves. So the person is making a lot of money, but you go to the office, nobody is there. They don't even have an office. They don't even have a manager. They don't even have an accountant. And yet they are making a lot of money. And the danger about it is that they are afraid to build a team. They are afraid to put people together. They are afraid to commit to at least try to, build a business system that can work without them. Why? It's because of lack of self-development, self-investment. They don't focus on that. They don't think it's important. And as a matter of fact, it may not even be part of the common conversations that we have as people who are trying to build businesses. Your strength will give up on you if you don't commit to self-development. You'll be exhausted. You will become you can be somebody who has done so much as a business person, but you do so much at a certain level, you have to regather yourself and lift the business to the next level. Your ability to do all those will only depend on the kind of investment that you have been doing, you have been committing to yourself over the years. So the drive that you have is going to keep on going because you are always becoming better. You are paying attention to what you are becoming within, the information that you're gathering, the knowledge that you're acquiring, the skills that you're developing, the books that you're reading. Those are the things that are building investment. You cannot, let's say when you go to the bank, if you don't have money there and you write the check, it will not clear because there's no money there. Knowledge is like that. Knowledge is that deposit that you continue to put in yourself. When you need it, you can cash it. So there has to be a plan that you have to have, where you are saying that I am doing something every day to become better. I'm going to maybe go for a seminar every 2 months or every 3 months. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to, study. You have to have a plan for that. Maybe I'm going to listen to a talk, maybe, on finance, on achievement, on productivity, on leadership, on getting results, on building a team, on understanding the market. The very things we only succeed a lot, the achievements that anybody gets, is because they invested a lot in that. And the first form of investment is themselves. Because until you have invested in yourself, there is no investment in your hand that is safe. So the business that you're doing, you can only keep on expanding the business because you are constantly upgrading yourself. You're becoming better. Self-education is the thing. So maybe from morning to evening, apart from running around and chasing the work and chasing the money, what time did you have to upgrade yourself? What time did you have to read something? What time did you have to ask some people some questions? If you are in your car, for instance, what do you listen to? If you're in your room, for instance, what do you listen to? What do you watch? I think that if you commit to entrepreneurship, you have committed to self-development. because the journey is tough. The journey is difficult. The journey is volatile. The journey is that, very few people are able to endure it because they don't commit to constant self-investment, self-development. They don't practice it. And so you have to create a whole part, a whole culture which is about self-development constantly. Nobody can do that for you. You have to do that. Where they come to your room, you are constantly listening to something. When they come to your room, you're constantly reading something. Any little time that you have, apart from working on the field, you're reading a book, you're listening to audio. You are always looking for. You're very curious. You're very inquisitive. Your mind is always looking for information. You're always looking for something that you have never heard, and you're always looking at different ways of looking at issue. You create that kind of atmosphere if you are going to succeed as an entrepreneur. You have to do that, or a time will come that the opposition, the troubles will start to get to you because you stop investing in it. Your strength is as much as the investment that you have done to yourself. Your strength. And you cannot rely, as I said, you cannot rely on just the fact that you went to some university somewhere and you have a degree in it and that's it. That's what that you need. No, there's a lot of schooling that you are going to do. There's a lot of schooling that you're going to do. So whatever business that you're in, that business, there's a lot of data beyond the common business, the business element that you have to learn. The common, every business may have that. There are common things that every business has, like maybe the finance, the team, the systems that you have to run the business, the operations, those things. Everybody, the leadership, the culture that you're building, maybe the sales or the production. But there are things that are also very specific to the kind of business that you do. And every business has tons of those. Are you learning them? Do you read about them? Do you study them? Do you watch videos on them? Do you have audios on them? Are you practicing all the time? If you don't practice, you don't, because that's the way to invest constantly. If you have, let's say, if they come to look at maybe your expenditure, maybe you have 1,000 cedis every month as free money on yourself. Where you spend that money shows the kind of belief that you have in yourself. So maybe you use 200 or 300 to buy books. That's it. That's an indication that this is somebody who wants to constantly upgrade himself. There are people who are doing businesses running around everywhere who never commit to upgrading and investing in themselves. A lot of them, the only way that they will maybe try to upgrade themselves is to go to maybe Gimpa or somewhere to read some MBA or something like that. But beyond the MBA, there are books that you have to constantly be reading. There are audios that you have to be constantly watching. And there are tutors that you have to fish out for to become better. There are documentaries that you would want to watch because you have a program. There has to be a timetable that you have for self-development. You're not writing an exam for anybody. You're not going to, nobody is going to mark you. But there is a timetable. There's a schedule that you have. From January to December, there is a schedule. You have a schedule. This month, this is the book that I'm reading. These are the topics that I'm reading. This is where I have to upgrade my knowledge. There is a plan that you have for constantly developing yourself, because your efficiencies, your precision, how productive that you are, they are going to depend on the self investment plan that you have. I'm not talking about investing money money in a bank. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Before you even invest money in a bank, or before, sometimes somebody will call you to say that, I have a business idea I want to start, and what do you think? I say that, okay, you want to start. Are you in that industry? No, I'm working in a bank, but I want to start a poultry farm. Do you know anybody who is doing the poultry farm? No. But I feel that, I sense in my spirit that I have to start a poultry farm. No, I would rather say that take some months, go and read a lot, go and gather information, go and ask people, have a plan, to do that. And when you are jumping from, let's say, when you're an employee and maybe you were fired or something and you want to start a business, or maybe you have decided to resign from the place that you're working and you want to start a business. That one. Don't just go and start it the next day. I think that buy some business books, read, buy some books on entrepreneurship, read, build yourself, invest in yourself before you go. Because then the pressure will not shake you. At least you'll be a little bit, informed as to the journey that you're about to embark. So don't just that's the best form of investment. The best form of investment is the one that you put in yourself on anything. Let's say you even want to start investing in, let's say, mutual funds or in real estate, or you want to start to invest in some businesses. I think that you must, because every one of them has some basic skills, some basic technical understanding that you must have. Data, every industry has some sense of, some level of data that you must know before you can succeed in it. These things may actually help you to prevent some of the, unnecessary mistakes that entrepreneurship brings. If you start to know, because what every decision that you're making is coming from that kind of investment, the things that you're putting yourself, the things that you have put in yourself. So you don't just jump into anything and say that, oh no, me, I understand it. You must read about it, you must study it, you must ponder over some things, you must understand the technical terms in that. There are a lot that you have to know in order for you to succeed in anything. And a major part of it comes from self development, self education. You must have that. And let's say you started a business, maybe you didn't go to school that much, and maybe even your grammar is not good. Go and buy a grammar book. Work on your tenses. Read them. Make sure that you become better at that. Maybe you cannot read that much well. Can you go to 9 classes or maybe some part-time college to polish that? Maybe you so wish that you could finish university, but there were issues, so you didn't go. Now that you have access, you're building business. Now that your business is taking shape, now that some things, can you do something about that which worries you? Because the tool that you need to become better is in your hand. They told us that everybody, they told us to look up to, if you see the president go to any village, the village people are waiting for the president to come and sing KVIP. That's the kind of consciousness that you have created in us. So we are always looking up to somebody to come and help us. But if you want to achieve your dreams as an entrepreneur, you have to have this pattern. That's the only way that you are going to keep going. When everybody else is quitting, when everybody else is giving up, when everybody is stopping, but because, let's say, if you're looking for a job from the government, a lot of things are clear for you. If you want to become a politician or you want to become a government worker or something like that, a lot of things are clear for you. So whether you commit to self-development or no self-development, they will pay you. Your salary will come. Now, if you say that you want to start a business or you want to live your dreams or you want to live, there's something in you that you want to affect society with, that one, you have to know that you will need another form of school. You would have to consciously pattern an education for yourself. But if you don't want to become anything, if you're just very comfortable with your job, with the kind of things that you're doing, that's why most adults don't read. Most people don't read after school. They don't read anything. I mean, they don't care. They don't. And the difference between you and your mates that you left at the university level will be the kind of materials that you have used to train yourself, the kind of investment that you have made in yourself. That's the only difference between you and those that you left. Even those that you started business with, the other friend who has started another business and you have started another business. The investment that you are making in your life will decide the quality of business that you build, the size of business that you build, the kind of people who will even come to work with you, the kind of business culture that you'll be able to build. There are a lot of decisions that are going to be affected because of the self-investment that you have done. So everything is coming out of the things that you have been building in yourself, and that's why you're able to go through the things that you are able to go through, because you committed to self-development. So there has to be a program. And I think that every year, January, you have to sit down and write some of the authors that you would want to read their books throughout the year. So maybe 2 authors or 3 authors you write. These are the books that I want. So you go and find the books, and maybe every month you're able to finish maybe one, or every 2 months you're able to finish one. The more you read, the better. But at least you should know that every now and then there's a book that you're reading, even if it's a page every day. Some people say that they don't have time at all to read books. I don't have time at all. It's not my priority. Okay. Where we come from as Africans, there's a lot of knowledge that you have to catch up with. There's a lot of knowledge that you have to catch up with. That's why our results are just proving the kind of investment that we have done to ourselves, as the people from this country or from this continent. A lot of our people are locked up in knowledge that was. So we are locked up in tradition, we are locked up in culture, in history. Sometimes you go to the funeral, you see the way the people are dancing, and somebody else will come and try to explain the meaning of this dance, the meaning of this dance, the meaning of this dance, and they will explain the clothes that they are wearing, the chief. That is the kind of thing that we have mastered. I'm not saying that they are not good. They are good, but they will not get us results. They are not getting us results. Anytime that you are listening to the radio, especially the news people, they are trying to explain, almost all the time they are trying to explain something to us which has nothing to do with productivity. And so the whole people, the whole culture, we've been conditioned with some kind of knowledge, but that knowledge does not bring results. The things that people are focusing on in this world now are the things that are stretching them to get to their goals. Those of us who are here, they are the things that somebody else is trying to tell you what your ancestors did and why they made that decision. I think those are good, but they are not enough for you to get results. They are not enough for you to get to your dreams. They are not enough. If all the knowledge that the cultural information that they are giving us, why anytime that you go for instance, outdooring or babies or engagement ceremonies and things, you see the concept that they do there, all kind of things they try to give you, this kind of thing, this kind of history. They don't bring results. You need something with back data. This is why we do this. These are the number of successes that we have had. These are the number of failures that we have had. That's why we change it. A lot of the information that they are giving us, a lot of the things that they are telling us is culture. It's just a stagnated information, stagnated knowledge. There's not much attached to innovation and creativity and productivity and problem solving. Any people who are able to do more are committed to productivity, to innovation, to problem solving, to futuristic thinking. They're looking at if the population is growing, are we able to build systems and structures to grow with that without being consumed by new diseases and food and water and lack of shelter and things like that. So we are subconsciously, we are attracted to the knowledge that does not help us to get to our goals. So we are saying too much, we are talking too much. Everybody is trying to give us some kind of narration. But if you sit down, you see that this kind of information, if you are very honest with yourself, you cannot do anything with it. So that we are made up of some kind of information, some kind of, they have put some kind of teaching to us. Yes, it's good, but they are inefficient. So you cannot use these things to build the businesses that you want to build, or to grow the company or to get to your goals. So you would have to now go back and look at the kind of things that you need to tool yourself, to develop yourself. What is your understanding of, say, finances? What do you know about it? Have you read any book on it? Or you have just picked the ones from when you were growing up, from the family, from the school, from the church? That's all that you know. And most people, that's all that they know. If you ask them any information on money or finances, it's only going to come from what their parents told them or what the school teacher told them. And listen, a school teacher cannot teach you to become successful financially. It's not possible, because he himself doesn't know. There is not one of the things that he can teach you comfortably. He doesn't know. That's why they are always on a lookout looking for increment in salary. So which means that the information that you need in terms of finances as a business person, as an entrepreneur, you cannot get it from that school. You cannot get it from the JSS madam. You cannot get it from the primary school. You cannot get it even from the university. They are teaching you how to speak very good English and do calculation, mathematics and structural engineering and all those things that they, machine tools. That's what they were teaching you. But for you to succeed as an entrepreneur, there are other things that you need more than those. And because nobody has told you those, until you have studied it with back data, you're not educated in it. So the same, every facet of life, until you have gathered the right tools, read about 5, 10 books on it, good books with facts and figures, you don't really understand the subject. And so there are a lot of adults, there are a lot of us who are just talking about things that we have never studied. We are just using the information, the subconscious information, that we gathered when we were growing up. And that's why we don't get consistent results. We don't see consistent growth. We are not able to do it according to our strength because we have not studied them. And one of the ways that you can catch up is committing to self-development, investing yourself in knowledge and understanding in any topic that you want. And there are not many. For us to succeed in whatever endeavor that we are doing, the things that we have to master are not that many. And these are factual. They are not many. They're just, you can count them on your fingers. The things that we have to master for us to succeed with our business, with our lives, with our dreams, they are not many. We just have to constantly upgrading ourselves in those. But you can easily identify them. They're not many. You probably would have to master how to work well and work hard. You must understand the implications of your choices, the character development, constantly being a person who says if it's yes, it's yes, if it's no, it's no, being ethical, being committed to that which is of truth. This is a basic fundamental truth, and a lot of people will never find out until they commit to self-development. The other thing will be having a purity of heart, to be genuinely interested in people and be genuinely interested in yourself. Being a person who is just a kind, loving, peaceful person. The other thing will be making sure that you have courage to take the bold steps that you have to take. And if something has to be said, you are ready to say it as it is. That's courage. And so the things that we have to learn, they are not that many. And all these things, you can carry them into building the business, the finances, the money. There are basic things that they can teach anybody for them to become successful, at least better than the previous level that they had. And these are things that are there. I mean, a lot of people want to marry and have family. There are things that you must know for you to have a successful family, a successful marriage. If those are not there, no matter what you do, you hang in there, but there'll be troubles because you have not schooled yourself in that, and you cannot take a lot of those information that they are throwing out there and build a successful marriage with it, because a lot of the people who are throwing those kind of information go and look at what you're doing. If it's good, no problem, then you can copy that, but what I see is that a lot of people are just hanging. They are just hanging. They are there, but there's no benefit of that. There's no reason. There's no purpose. There's no life in it. So they're just there. But there should be a reason why the two came together to achieve something. So these are all coming from self-development, self-education. There's a lot that, if you didn't come from a family that they were committed to train you and to teach you, and the way I see in school, not much that they can teach you for you to become successful with. The best they can do is to make you a very calm, humble, respectful person who was brought up in Ghana. But when it comes to vision, productivity, entrepreneurship, purposeful living, becoming a person who is bold, courageous, and living your dreams, those are the things that you may have to design your own school, and to catch up with it. Because you can come from the same mother, you can come from the same father, same family. And the difference will be because you took the path of self-education. And the others just let the school that they went to be the standard of the education. You will never be a great achiever if you don't practice these things. You have to have your personal plan to educate yourself constantly. 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 The rest of the world, they are reading books, they are searching, they are looking for data, they are becoming better all the time, they are watching something all the time, and and the Africans are mastering culture and tradition all the time. And that's why the people are coming up with technology, they're coming up with a better way of doing things, and we are just consuming what they are coming up with because they have committed themselves into constant self improvement. They are investing in themselves. You meet the average guy who is committed to business, he's studying himself, he's building himself because the human being, especially the brain of the human being, is so powerful. But it can only be used to a higher percentage if it's developed. If it's developed. And you can commit to say that I am also gifted. I am gifted. I'm endowed with something. I only need to educate myself, you know. So don't live a life believing everybody but yourself. Don't live a life looking up to everybody for help but yourself. Don't live a life like that, especially if you are a business person. If you're an entrepreneur, you need some level of confidence. You need some level of courage. You need some level of self-value. And nothing brings those things out more than self-investment and practicing self-development and self-education. Nothing brings those things that, because that's the essence. The things are in you. You only need knowledge to bring them out. The things that you're looking for, the ingenuity, the creativity, that's why you connect with it. You see, when you're reading a book and it's making sense to you, or when somebody is saying something and it's making sense to you, what makes you think that, what is it that makes you believe that what the person is saying is making sense? It's because there's something resident in you that connects with that thing that the person is saying. So the essence of self-education is to make sure that that thing is growing. That thing in you is growing. It's self-discovery. If you commit to self-investment, you get to self-discovery. You discover what you are good at. You see the skills that you have. You see the productivity. You start to manage your time, your money. You start to manage your relationship. You start to manage your mind. You start to manage things. You start to dress well. You start to talk differently. Everything can be trained. You don't just say that, oh, me, that is how I was brought up, that's why I talk. No. There's a way that anything in this world is done to become successful. There's a way. And so if you're doing something and we are not succeeding, it's highly possible that we are doing it in the wrong way. We are not succeeding. And so if you're able to find the right way, you will be successful at what you do. And same with business. There are a lot of us who would fail several times at our business. Why? Because we were not doing it the right way. And you commit to doing something the right way when you have discovered the right way yourself, or when you have been taught the right way yourself. So commit to self-development. Practice it. Invest the first. So you've been taught to believe everybody but yourself. Self-investment, investing in yourself, committing to self-education, self-development will let you know that you also must believe in yourself. Without it, you cannot take risk. And without it, you cannot succeed with your dreams. Without it, you cannot build your business. That confidence comes out of self-discovery and self-investment. So a lot of people are looking for everybody to pray for them, to put anointing on them. You are looking for the malam, you are looking for lotto, you are looking for this, because you have not sat down to invest in yourself. The moment you commit to self-investment and you commit to becoming better at what you do, it will be seen in how you work. It will be seen in how you solve problems. It will be seen in your ethics, in your character. It will be seen whether you are able to commit to something that is good. You say that if I'm in it, this is what you become dependent, and you become somebody that people can trust. You become somebody that you are frugal with money. You become somebody that you will not be wasteful, because you are developing yourself. When you go through this, they will test you with money and you will not fail, because you are becoming better. One of the things that you can test people is money. And most people will fail in that because they did not commit to self-education and self-development. So they become wasteful. They don't mature. So the entrepreneurship journey is contrary to even the former academics, the former education. that we had. And that it does not mean that you don't need education. You need education, but this one that makes a lot of entrepreneurs succeed, or a lot of people able to get to their dream, is the one that they committed to themselves, the self-investment. They committed to that. They became better at that. They committed to self-education, self-improvement, constant self-development. They committed to that. That's why they built the fortitude to keep going when everybody else was giving up. So it's a choice. What kind of books are you reading? Who are your authors? Who do you listen to constantly? The things that you're feeding yourself with, those are the things that are predicting your future and the successes. So what are the things that you're feeding yourself? What is it that your mind gets attracted to? That which your mind gets attracted to shows the level of your development. A lot of information are going on. What you decide to connect to shows the level of your maturity, the level of your development, the level of the self-education that you have had. So when you hear something, what interests you, what makes that thing interesting to you, is the proof of the level of the development that you have had. There are people that anytime that you see them discuss anything, it's about people. It's about somebody else who has done something to them. It's about them being bitter about somebody. It's always about somebody else that they are not happy with or something. It's always concern. And there are people who meet and they are always discussing strategy, plan, ideas, vision, productivity, efficiency. They are always discussing things that will make them better and get to their goals. Those people have also developed something that is different from the others. And usually, if you look at the people who are successful, those are the things that they are constantly discussing. They are mapping up the next move, the next strategy. They are always thinking about what to do the next time. The plan, how to change the technology, how to change the team, how to save more money, how to invest, how to go and buy that property. Those are the things that they are constantly, their mind is always constantly processing. And the other guys who are always looking for help and begging people all the time. The things that they are discussing. Kwesi left the wife. Brago left this thing here. I will fight her. Those are the things that they discuss. And that's why they are kept there. The moment that they commit to discussing things that are mature, that will get them to solve the very problem that they want to solve. Because poverty, you are poor. And yet your mind and your conversations and your time are occupied with things that will not change you. And a lot of those things, we see them in our continent. We have poverty situation, yet we constantly are discussing things that will not lift us out of the poverty. So we are discussing things that have very little to do with the very solutions that we want. And they come out of self-development, self-investment. The moment you commit to investing quality data in yourself, you see that you stop to discuss things that are not important. So if you say investing in yourself would also have to do with the people that you associate with. The moment you start to invest in yourself, you commit to self-education, you commit to self-development as an entrepreneur, you start to see the kind of people that you even spend a lot of time with. You see that every time is not enough for you now. Is it that you're reading a book or you're watching a video or you are on the business working or you're talking to a customer? You want to learn more about sales, you want to learn more about your product, you want to learn more about how to get the team better. You're always calculating the finances and getting to the next deal. Those things you are occupied with that. You constantly are doing something that is going to make you better. You start to separate yourself from the friends who are not going anywhere. That is one of the proofs that you're now committed to self-development. So this friend is always telling you have to go to the studio and watch football, and yet you are struggling with your business. You don't know where the business is going. No, you are not. Your mind is not. You want to develop yourself so that this thing will work. They are saying that let's go to eat moto. You are not going. Why? Because you have to become better for the thing to work. You have to become better for the thing to grow. Anything that you are involved in, the only reason it's not doing well is because you are not better at it. Anything that I am involved in, the only thing why I am struggling there is because I've not had it. There's a stage that when you get there, the results will happen. The results will happen, and it's constant self-improvement that brings you to that level. So when we are not succeeding with the finances, when we are not succeeding with the business, when we are not succeeding with the friendship, when we are not succeeding with the marriage, it's because the skill is not there. We have not acquired enough to get results. So you run today, tomorrow you fall. You run today, tomorrow you fall. You run today, tomorrow you fall. And the thing about human beings is that we all believe that we are the best, even if our results prove otherwise. I mean, the guy's business is suffering, is breaking down, but he still thinks that he knows everything about the business. The man is broke, but he still thinks that his financial knowledge is right. The marriage is not working, but he still thinks that he's the best husband. Yet the marriage is not working. The results prove the quality. The results that we are getting constantly prove the quality that we have. So if you are from here, the Africans, you blame everybody for that which is not working. We blame everybody for that which is not working, but not ourselves. If anything is not working, look at yourself again. If anything is not working in my life, I have to look at myself. What is it that I don't know? What is it that I have refused to learn? What is it that I have not gone through the process? What is it that I'm ill-equipped in? At least you should be sincere. If you are not even going to do anything about it, at least you will know that this one, I don't have the tools. I don't have the expertise. That's why I'm not getting the results. At least you'll be able to tell yourself that way. And that is business. If you're an entrepreneur and you're not going to be honest to yourself, you're going to create problem for yourself. Because the thing is, the results will sell you out. The results that you're getting constantly would let you know that, listen, boy, this one, you don't know it. And that's why you keep failing at it. Or the knowledge that you have acquired, the base is not right. It's not working. So you must go and look at the knowledge again. And it starts with investing in yourself. Investing in yourself. Investing in yourself constantly. Investing in your sales skill, investing in your financial knowledge, investing in your leadership skill, investing in the ability to train the people, to talk well, investing sometimes in the way you dress, the way you appear. Sometimes they will tell you even the voice. There's a lot that you have to learn, that I have to learn for anything to work. That are required. There are standards. There may not be anybody who has set those standards, but nature has those standards. You cannot get those results genuinely if you are not in those standards. And it will call for self-development, to call for self-investment. So I would say that have a plan. Go to the bookshop. Buy books in the areas that you are committed to and read them. And reduce the other things that you spend a lot of time in. Because until you are it, you can have it. Anything that you have, you become it before you can have it. The capacity that you're building is responsible for the kind of capacity that you can handle. And so thank you for watching. Thank you. So commit to self education. Commit to investing in yourself. There is nothing like that. And human beings are flexible, we are malleable, we can learn whatever that we have to learn. And don't let even your technical education, the very things that you schooled in, it does not mean that is the only thing that you can learn. Maybe you learn as an engineer. It does not mean that you cannot learn technology. Or you cannot learn accounting, or you cannot learn human resource, or you cannot learn product development. Don't convince yourself that way. If you buy books there and you lay your hands on them, you can do something with it. So everything that you don't know is because you don't want to learn. It's not because it's impossible. It's because you don't want to read about it. You don't have time. But the moment you have a strategy, you have a time, you have a plan, you'll get better. And so if you're an entrepreneur, the only way that you're going to be able to handle the stress and keep going and keep going and keep going after your dreams is because you're investing constantly. It's a constant thing for the rest of your life. It's learning process absolute learning process. And the quality of teachers that you choose, they are also critical to what you're becoming. So who have you chosen to listen and to watch and to read books and to practice? It's a constant practice. Constant practice. You see, there are professions that, like the footballer, they pump a lot of time, but by 25, 30, they are going on retirement. You know, the boxers, 35, they are going on retirement. They have taken all their glory. Now, for business, most business people, business is the only profession. Entrepreneurship is the only profession that you don't retire. Hopefully, you know, nobody can sack you. Sometimes in their 70s, that's where they start to even build a lot of, a lot of people become great. A lot of entrepreneurs become great after they have practiced for 30 years. They're practicing. How many footballers can play for 30 years? How many boxers can box for 30 years? Or even how many surgeons can practice for 30, 40 years? But in the entrepreneur, it's forever. Until you drop, you can do business anytime you want, So it's constant. So some of the greatest business people that you hear, the billionaires and others, go and look at the number of years that they've been practicing. A lot of them. Even if they say that they have retired, go and look at the foundations that they have. They're always discussing business anyway. Because that's the game. But they read, they study. They commit to reading, they commit to studying, they commit to seminar. They are challenging their thoughts all the time. They're asking questions all the time. If it's not working, they are going to question it. If it's not working, they're going to question it. So you must develop yourself to question a lot of things. I did the series one time, I call it a first principles approach. You must always look at what is the minutest level that you can break a lot of things to get to the solution. Because that is one of the things that are beating us as Africans. The way we solve problems is weak. And it's because we are not investing so much in ourselves in terms of how to solve problems. I remember when I was doing national service years back, we were working on this Caterpillar, Caterpillar engine. We were doing the overhauling. And I couldn't understand. Anytime that the heavy duty machines will come, these guys who were mechanics, yes, but they still find it difficult to remove a particular bolt somewhere. Why? Because they didn't have a logic, they didn't have a formula, they had not written down any protocol to say that if this thing comes, this is how we are going to solve it. So then you go to a lot of businesses, there's no protocol, there's no approach, there's no data on how things are done. There's no training. They don't train nobody for anything. There's no commitment to sales training, there's no commitment to customer service training, there's no commitment to personal development, there's nothing. So everybody's doing what they want. And then we are looking for results. It doesn't happen like that. So any serious community, any serious country, any serious individual is committed to investing in themselves first. And they are always constantly looking at that. Constantly. So you see them always reading a book, always getting some kind of data. They are going for some seminar. They are bet. Don't tell me that you always listen, like the way some people are listening to preaching every 12 o'clock or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking of information that you can use to better your life. I'm not talking about information that you are going to pray to God to help you. No. I'm talking about information that will build your skill, to build your business. That's what I'm talking about. The fact that you go, some people are always listening to preaching, and it's always Jehoshaphat and this and this and that. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are good. Listen to them, but I'm talking of you having special program, special timetable to committing to getting the data, the information, in becoming better at what you do as a business person. The finances, you're not going to improve your financial knowledge by listening to John 3:16. No, that's not what is going to improve your financial knowledge. There are data, there are technical terms, there are things that you must know for you to become good at the finances of your business. So when they are training the doctor, they don't train the doctor with the Bible. They train the doctor with medicine. That's how they train the doctor, with medicine. If they are training the engineer, they are not training the engineer with Ezekiel 3:17. No. That's not what they are training them. They are training them with thermodynamics, heat transfer. Those are the things that they are training them with. Unless that's why they test them into that. In that, if they test you, you don't qualify, they will repeat you. You have to write the exam and qualify before you go to the next stage. So the same. If you're a business person, there are things that you must know, or the business will not work. You have to constantly develop yourself, commit to it. There is nothing that will keep you going and that will make you enjoy the journey of life than you committing to constantly becoming better, constantly reading something, constantly watching something, constantly developing yourself, constantly watching a video that is inspiring you, getting you skill, getting you program. Your mind is always at work. You create that kind of environment in your house. You create that in your office. You create that in your car constantly. If you are saying that you are going to become an entrepreneur or you're a business person and you want to keep going, information constantly. And the thing about the world now is that the internet is there, so you can connect with anybody anywhere to get the best of information, to become the best of person that you want to become. And that one is a choice. If somebody else is trying to use the same time to sleep, you will want to use the same time to train yourself. And these are the things that if you see anybody who is ambitious and who is always driven, I can tell you absolutely that these are the things that they've been doing for the last 10 years. If you see anybody who is seriously driven, I can tell you that they are reading, they're watching videos, they are listening to audios, they are training themselves constantly, they are going for seminars. They are always building themselves. That's why they have that kind of information. That's why their life is constantly, their life is becoming better, because your life is just taking the direction of the knowledge that you have accumulated, that you're practicing. So if you are gathering, the religious ones, those are the ones that is difficult for you to talk to. The guys, I have a brother who is always, he's even when he's even greeting you, say good God morning or something, grace morning or something like that. People who, those are the people who have deceived themselves that they cannot get all the information by reading some religious books. No, if you are going to become a business person or you are it, you have to have that knowledge. It's different. The religious knowledge is different. The entrepreneurship knowledge is different. That which will build your courage, your strength, your finances, your team, the business to keep expanding and building structures. The data that you need to ask the crucial questions for the problems to be solved. Those ones, you must have them. And those, I think that the best form of knowledge is the knowledge that is helping you to develop a better skill yourself to solve the problems. So you are not going to build your life waiting for somebody to help you, because you're constantly building yourself. You constantly become better. So you're giant. You're giant within. You're able to solve problems, and nothing shakes you or puts fear in you, because you're prepared. You're always preparing, and you're always thinking. You're always listening to something. I'm always listening to something. A day does not go by that I don't, watch a video or read a page of a book or pray or something like that. There's always something that you have to commit to if you want, because the journey is tough. The journey is tough. There are 1,001 things that will make you give up, unless your package of training, of development, of self-investment, that package is far stronger and bigger than the problems that are coming every day. Unless you have that, you give up. Or some people will just go and get some achievement. They will achieve to a certain level and then they give up, because the investment was not there. It's fuel. The self-development, the self-invest is fuel, So let's say you're going to Kumasi. They say that if you buy 20 gallons of fuel, it will take you to Kumasi. But you just bought one or two. So you go to Nsawam and that's it. It's gone. But constantly developing. So constant development is that you even have excess of the fuel in the car. You're going. So if you short, you can pour it in it. So it's constant. That's the only way that you're going to become the best of person that you think you're going to become. And you're not going to hope that it will be. When you prepare like that, I can tell you certain that you succeed. There's no chance. Because success is just a product of that, of knowledge, of practice, of doing repeatedly. So commit to that, and nothing will stop you. As a matter of fact, if you see anybody that you have to encourage all the time, it's because you are not committed to self-development. There are people that you don't need to encourage because they're encouraging themselves every day. The atmosphere that you have created, something happens, yes, they are human, they can think about it, but the next minute they are going to try again because the energy that they have invested, the things that they have invested in themselves, are such that they cannot give up, they cannot quit. That's it. They cannot quit there, and they are bound to succeed. There's a certain level of financial knowledge if you get, you cannot fail. As a matter of fact, any decision, anything that push you to start that business is because you are investing in yourself. Not many people are there at that level to start a business because the investment is not due. It's not. It's concentrating. So once you put in more, you put in more, you put in more, it just will push you. You know. So if they are pumping you and you are not moving, it's because you were too low. So you have to push more, push more, push more. It gets to the flowing level, you will move. Just like that. Because your life is taking a part of your self-development. Everything that you have invested your time, your energy, your resources in, that's where your life has taken that part. You know, so the guy who became a lawyer is because he went to invest his money and his time. He went for lectures, he practiced, he wrote the exam. That's why they call him a lawyer. You're a business person, if you want to succeed, you have to practice that. You have to practice constantly. And don't let anybody take that from you. Don't deceive yourself that you're going to succeed as a business person, as an entrepreneur, in this kind of environment. If you forget to becoming better every day, it's not. It's not. It's not going to happen. You're constantly getting new knowledge, studying, reading, listening, practicing, becoming better. That's how they are winning. Go and talk to any one of them. One thing I've seen about people who are succeeding is that they almost always think the same. If you ask them a question about time, they almost always all the time will give you the same kind of answer about time. Maybe not the same words, but it's the same. If you ask them a question about vision, they'll always, almost all the time, tell you something. If you ask them a question about endurance and pushing towards your goal, they most always all the time will tell you something like that. If you ask them a question about, okay, let's say your gift and your passion and your development, they will tell you something similar. Almost all the time, whether it's the billionaire or the sport, those anybody who has succeeded in anything. If you ask them what is the importance of training, they'll tell you that. Almost all the time. Almost all the time. Those who are succeeding, those who are building anything, they all get to that realm where they think alike. And they got there by self-practice, self-improvement, self-investment. All the guys who you see, whether they live in Africa or they live in any other country, just listen to them. You can just go and Google some of their talks and look at specific topics and see how the specific maybe experiences may be different, but the import of the answers is the same. The same with the poor. The way the poor thinks, or the way a poor man thinks here is the same as the way another poor man thinks anywhere in the world. That's why they are poor. That's why they are poor. The way the people who are succeeding, they think is the same. I mean, rare one, not the one who was stealing. Talking of those who are able to build from nothing to somewhere. Those guys, they think the same because once you're training and you're building, you're going, you're graduating, you get to this level where it's the same. Their mind, they connect. So sometimes we say something and feel like, but where did I hear this? And you hear another great person say the same thing. It's like, wow. Then it means that I'm playing in this kind of realm. So then you start to talk and you start to think, you start to behave, you start to do things that way. When you meet them, they are trying to say, treat people well. That's what they say. They tell you, treat people well. Talk to people well. Take care of your workers. That's what they say. Don't destroy the money. They tell you a lot of things. They say, hey, don't give up on your dream. Practice. It's like that. Don't give up. They tell you, what is it that you're good at? What is it that you want to change? What's the purpose? They ask you. You have a plan. What's the game plan? Is it working or is it not going to work? They ask all these questions because they all think the same. So because the basis of success is not complex. It's all the same everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world. And the same with entrepreneurship as well. you know, the same. It's the same. The economy may be different, the culture may be different, but the basic principles are the same, and they are the same. It comes down to practice, develop yourself, be constantly learn, go after your goals, don't waste the money. Those are the things that everybody else is talking about. So invest in yourself. It's a fact. If you have a job somewhere and you're only happy with your job, don't worry about these things. But if you are into business, you cannot build a business and be happy, enjoy the journey, if you are not committed to developing yourself constantly. Committing to developing yourself constantly. Reading, studying, stretching, challenging your thoughts, challenging that which didn't work, asking serious questions, looking at the better way to solve the problems, not blaming people, not blaming the devil, not blaming a lot of things. You look at the structure. That's how you succeed. That's how you keep your peace. That's how you keep your thoughts together. That's how you become great at what you do. And it's with the marriage, it's with the finances, it's with the family, it is with yourself, it is with the business, the same things. Constantly. So whatever you're practicing, whatever you want to be great in, what is the amount of data that you have gathered yourself in that? Does it qualify you to succeed in that? There's a certain amount of data in any field of life that you must have for you to become an expert, at least at the lowest level. There is a certain amount. So when you have not gathered it, you just try anything and it will not work. And then you say that I tried business and it didn't work. It's because you didn't invest in yourself. There was a friend of ours who was a consultant, who was somewhere, and he said that he wanted to quit his place and go and start a business. But he started a business and still was thinking like an employee. You must shift from thinking as an employee to thinking as an entrepreneur. A lot of people are trying to do business, but they think like employees. And one of the things that you see that they are thinking like employees is that they're selfish. They focus on only what they will gain as an employee thinking. They are looking at how am I going to survive at the end of the month. That's an employee thinking. They're looking at promotion. That's an employee thinking. They're looking at I come to work 9 o'clock and I want to stop by 6 o'clock. They're looking at that. That's an employee thinking. You cannot start a business and be successful right from the start if you think like that, because the employee is not responsible entirely. Somebody else, if the employee makes mistakes, somebody else will pay for it. Now, if you make a mistake, nobody else will pay for it. They will come for you. So you cannot think like that. You cannot think like that. You have to think, shift from being an employee thinking to what? Becoming an entrepreneur and saying that, listen, I've got to do whatever I have to do to make sure that this business works. And I have to do the sacrifice myself. I have to do it. And that's where somebody has shifted you. Everything is on you. And so the skill that you don't have, you are ready to go and learn it. Maybe you don't know how to sell. You don't know the sales. You don't know how to train the people. You don't know the finances. There is a lot you don't know. You have to go and read, study them, and practice them. And the business will never grow more than you. Your growth level is reflected in the business that you have built, the culture that you have built. So what you stand for is what the business stands for. If your character is weak, the business you have built, the character will be weak. If the character is strong, the people who work there will copy that. If you're honest, it will be there. If you treat the people well, it will be there. If you're wasteful, the business will be wasteful. The business is just an extension of us and whatever we stand for. So if you're a person who believes in constant training, constant development, you see that the business, the people who work there will be affected. Just like that, because you believe in that. So whatever you're saying, they see it. They see it. They see it. So it's a choice. But you have no choice as an entrepreneur if you want to succeed. You have no choice. So whether you are tired or you're sleeping, buy a book to read. Listen to somebody. Go and learn. You get inspired. If your future looks bleak and you're worried and disturbed, it's because you have forgotten self-development. You have forgotten constantly becoming better at what you do. you are not reading, you're not studying, you're not building yourself, you're not building your muscle, you've given up on yourself, you've given up on your dream. And it should not be that. You must study. You must study. And that's, for me, that's one of the joys, that you see people who are committed to becoming better, instead of them wasting their life blaming everybody and who took away their money and who wasted their time, and who they are rather looking at becoming better so that they can achieve a lot. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Oscar. Thank you, Kwesi. Thank you, Darting, Mr. Darting Smith. Thank you very much for watching.